welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
So Joanne, what do you think we should cover tonight?
Well, I understand we have some modules that are extensions to CRM, so I thought maybe we could take a look at those and talk about what they are.
Okay. Well, I guess firstly, there's essentially two extension modules, as you say, with respect to CRM. There's a customer, a web My Accounts module,
Okay.
which has a customer and a sales rep side.
Okay.
With a vendor side, possibly future development. And then there's also a mobile app also. So we could take a look at all those.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Maybe we can come to a diagram.
Sure,
And
that'd
kind
be
of start
great.
a conversation from there. Okay. So as I mentioned, with Enterprise CRM, there's two basic sides to this. The first side being the Enterprise Web My Accounts.
Okay.
Okay. Underneath the Web My Accounts, there's two current sides and one, like I said, possibly future development.
Okay.
The two sides today would be the customer My Accounts and then the sales rep side.
Okay.
We'll focus today with the customer My Accounts. Okay, so if I branch this one more time. So the customer view, the intention here is to give one of your customers access to a website to be able to sign in online and have access to some of their information.
Okay.
They don't need a user license
Okay.
to do this, but they will need to be set up under the customer online user setup.
In
Okay, they need to be
standards.
configured inside of Enterprise
Okay.
with an email address, user login, or login to the website.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
Can we take a look at the customer view and what they would see on the website?
sure, absolutely. Okay. Okay, so I will. So essentially, you'd be giving them a login similar to this here. They'd log in with their email address and a password. Okay. And when it first opens up to the screen, the very first screen they open to is on a Welcome tab. And you can see the tabs that they'll have access to going across the top there. On that Welcome tab, it kind of gives them a lot of recent activity. So beginning with recent messages, which are web notes, conversation back and forth between the customer and maybe a sales rep from inside of Enterprise.
All right.
Okay. And if I scroll down further, they'll see recent invoices, recent orders, quotes, and estimates. Inside these sections, for example, I can highlight a particular order, expand the details, see a little bit more data there. I can also, with a particular order highlighted, print the acknowledgement report. With the other sections, like the estimate, I can print the quote. The invoice, I can print the invoice or a statement.
Okay, makes sense.
And see a lot of the different details in there.
Okay.
Okay. So this is just kind of a introductory tab, if you will, that lets them see a lot of recent activity that's been going on between, specific to their customer, of course. Now, also thinking about a customer that might be logging on to this website, they may have a desire at some point to maintain or update their address information. Okay, so they can come onto the address tab. They'll see some of their specific information. If they want to modify any of that, they can click the modify button, update any of the information, and keep it up to date.
Okay, sounds good.
You'll see the contact, order and billing contact information in here, email and website. So, in addition to all the address on the left. Contacts and ship tos can be maintained. Okay, so they go to the contact tab. They'll be able to add, modify, keep up to date all the current list of contacts.
Okay.
Same thing with ship to addresses.
Okay.
If anything changes, they can add new information. Okay, update as needed. Then we get to RFQs, estimates, and orders. Okay. Now with RFQs, they'll see a list of RFQs. If they own the Web RFQ module, they'll also be able to add an RFQ from here.
Okay.
Okay. You'll be able to see all the RFQs. One of the nice things about the My Accounts module is being able to make web notes. So we can demonstrate that here. So on any of these, whether it's an RFQ, you'll be able to do it with an estimate and an order also. A customer that logs on here can post a note specific to a particular RFQ or a particular estimate and have that note be visible inside CRM.
Okay.
Okay, so we can look at that here. If I take this first estimate here, and I can click the arrow at the end there and see some details on that here. Okay, now if I want to add a note to there, okay, and you can see some notes have already been put on there, but I can add a quick note here, type into the box here, so RFQ received, please okay, and then they can click send. And so what I'll do is I'll minimize the web page here, and if we go in and open up to CRM, okay, now of course this is again a customer's vantage point, so when you come into CRM, the internal sales rep would be looking at the particular customer here. So I've got this as account 1200, go to the RFQ section. You'll be able to see here the RFQs that have web notes attached to them.
Okay.
Okay. Now if I scroll down, oh, I'm sorry, I don't need to scroll down. If I pick the RFQ, then I can go to the web notes, all right, and you'll see the sales notes in here.
Awesome.
Okay. Now the internal sales rep could reply by typing into the box at the bottom. Just click add. Off to the right here, they can add an attachment. By adding that note there, that will be then visible
On the
online
website.
for the customer on the website.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. And they'll be able to do that with all three of these, with the RFQs, the estimates, as well as the orders. Okay. Now on the orders tab, same idea, I can highlight a particular order, arrow in to see some more of the details. Another nice feature here is the proof approval. And you can see the far left column here, there's a checkbox. A green checkbox is going to indicate that the proof has been accepted. The
Okay.
proof approval process has been completed. Okay. So this first one here, we haven't done a proof yet. So let's say the internal sales rep has mocked up the proof and wants to put a proof up online for the customer to authorize and accept. So if I go back into CRM, we'll go ahead and run through that process. Okay. So if I go to the orders tab inside CRM, okay, so we'll take this first order here. Okay. And again, we want to click on the web notes. And I can just type a note in here. Proof attached. Okay. And what they can do is they can add an attachment. Okay. And once you click to add the attachment, it's going to ask if this is a proof. Okay. So as soon as they click yes there, then they would add the note. Okay. So now the note is added within CRM, but it also, because it's a web note, we'll put it up to the website. Okay. So if I close there, we'll go back to the site. And let me just come off the orders tab and refresh here. All right, so now notice there is a green checkbox there, but the line itself is kind of red, alerting the user that there is a proof, there's an action that's needed.
Okay.
Okay. So if I expand the details here, here's the web note that was entered from within CRM. It has the proof attached. Okay. So I could open up that attachment. Okay. You'll see the document there. You can open it up even further. Okay. And then there's a link to click and accept the proof.
Okay.
Okay. So when I go through that process, okay, now there's a box to type a reply. Okay. Proof accepted. And then you can digitally sign. If I could type well. Okay. And then you'll click accept. It does come back with a message that it's been submitted. Okay. Okay. And then I can collapse the details. Okay. Now there's no longer a red type indicating that there's an action.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's kind of the proof approval process there. Does that make any questions on that?
No, that's great.
Okay.
Now that web note will appear that you've approved it in the CRM side as well.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Specifically also because I did put a note as a reply. Yep. So that'll come back and we can look at that inside of CRM. Okay. So if I flip off, go back to the orders tab. Okay. So again, now that I'm on that order, it does indicate here that there's been a web note. So if I click on the web notes, I can see here. Okay. Actually, that's the top one here. Yep. Proof has been accepted. Okay. All right. A couple other things you can do from the customer side. If I go back to the website, so that was kind of RFQs, estimates, and orders. They'll also be able to see their finished goods inventory. Okay. So they'll be able to see all the items they have. They'll be able to see the details. If they own web finished goods, they'll be able to reorder these products.
Okay.
Okay. And then lastly, they'll be able to see and manage their invoices. Okay, so they'll be able to see a list of invoices they have with their open balance. Okay, if they expand details, they'll be able to see a little bit more info here. They can actually print the invoice out,
Okay.
or the statement of all invoices, as well as if they want to make a payment on an invoice, they can click a payment button and open up to a credit card payment screen, which if they have authorized.net, they'll be able to make the payment and use the interface to process the payment. Okay.
All right, looks good.
Okay. All right, so that's a little bit of a summary of some of the activities that the customer would be able to have when they log on to the website.
Okay, great.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, perfect. Well, we can jump back to the diagram and take a look at the next step.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Joanne. So the next extension module we'll talk about is the sales account side.
Okay.
Okay. So again, if we look at the diagram here, so we talked about the customer account side. The sales account side is the other side of this. The intention with the sales account, sales rep side is to give one of your internal sales reps access to a website where they can log on from a website outside the office,
Okay.
be able to access information, maybe create an RFQ, look at RFQs, manage customers, things like that.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Can we take a look at log into the site as a sales rep and take a look at
Absolutely.
what that looks like?
Sure. Okay. All right, so I'll just log in. Whoops. Okay. All right, so this is logged in as a sales rep. When you first log in, it looks pretty similar initially to the way the customer first logs in. In other words, they've got the same welcome screen here where they've got a lot of the same information where they can see, the recent messages and recent activity, invoices, orders, quotes, and things like that. So that's going to all be the same as what we saw earlier with the customers. The difference, though, is when you go in as a sales rep, okay, you've got the home tab and you've got the customer tab. All right, so they're going to click on a customer tab, and then they're going to have the choice of which customer, to scroll onto.
Okay.
And, of course, they can even add a new account from in here, but they'll essentially be able to choose which customer they want to work with.
Okay. And I assume you can set them up to only see their particular customers that they're assigned to?
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. So I've got one customer highlighted here, Southeast Printing. So now if I scroll down, the second bottom of the screen here, second half of the screen, So you've got an address tab. A lot of this information is going to be similar to what we saw with the customers. Okay, so they'll be able to go to the address tab, maintain the address for this customer. One of the key differences, though, is the ability to see a snapshot. Okay, so if you're a sales rep, you'll be able to see a snapshot for the customer. That gives kind of a little bit of a summarization of some of their key information.
Okay.
All right. So you can see, you know, a quick summary up top here. Okay, a sales summary down below. They'll also see some recent invoices up in here.
Okay.
Okay. And then moving out forward, you know, again, a lot of the same information we saw a few minutes back with the customer side, where you're able to look at contacts, ship-tos. You know, if I click through here, they'll be able to maintain this information. Again, we're limited on to one customer at this point, so these are the contacts for the customer that we're highlighted on.
Okay.
Okay. Same thing with the ship-tos. RFQs, again, if they own the web RFQ, they'll be able to add an RFQ in for this customer. Okay. Estimates and orders. Same functionality we looked at earlier about the proof approval process. That functionality and would all hold true here with the sales rep side also. Okay. And on out through the finished goods inventory and invoices. So all that's really the same. So really the key difference is how they log in. Instead of just being on one screen working within one customer. If you're on the customer side, when you're a sales rep, you would choose the customer you want to work with.
Okay, and you mentioned you could also add a new customer from here
Exactly.
if you needed to. Okay.
Right. Okay. So I think that's, any questions on the sales rep side?
No, I think that explains it.
Okay.
Now you mentioned there was also a mobile app too. Can we talk about that extension?
Sure, absolutely. So we'll go back to the diagram one more time here. Okay. All right, so within, and if I just kind of bring this back up again. So we've gone through the My Accounts web module. We've looked at the customer side and the sales account side. So the other extension module to the My Accounts is the mobile app. And you notice that a vendor side opened up there. There is a potentially a future development for a supplier side as well. Okay, but we'll focus here on the mobile app, which is, like I said, the second extension module along with the My Accounts. And really the idea with the mobile app is to give strictly a sales rep an ability to use a mobile device and have access to some of their information.
Okay, great.
Okay. Because they're going to be a sales rep, they will need to have you know, a user login, a user license.
Okay, so we'll take up a license.
We'll take up a consumer license, correct.
Okay.
And they'll they're going to log in with their existing enterprise account information.
Okay, great.
So they'll use their existing login and password.
Is it possible for us to take a look at that as well?
Okay. Okay. So what we've got a little emulator here that we can display. All right, so, and it shows the app. So when you first log into the app, this is what you're going to see. This is what the sales rep would see here.
Okay.
Okay, so they'll be able to see essentially job and customer information. They'll be able to add an RFQ or add a customer.
Okay.
Okay. So if we kind of scroll through here a little bit, so we can look at jobs. Okay, they're not able to add an estimate or an order. So that's why it really is going to be good, really just for the sales reps, because they'll be able to do RFQs, but they're not going to be able to do or convert anything to an estimate or an order at this point.
Okay.
But they will be able to see a list of the jobs or estimates. Okay, so this is existing estimates for this sales rep. Okay, I can click on any one of them and see some details. Okay. I can search through the list of estimates or orders.
Okay.
Okay. But again, you're not adding a new job there. It's more just looking at the information that's there.
Okay.
Same thing with if you go in the customers this way here. Okay, so I've got a list of my customers. And as you mentioned earlier, I can be filtered if I'm filtered within Enterprise on just the customers that this sales rep is tied to.
Right.
Okay, that's the list of customers they'll see here. Okay. If I click into one of those customers, I'll see some of the information here. Some additional tabs down the bottom. I can, get into their address. Okay. Now with this emulator, we can't click in here. This is more for a display, but you'd be able to, get in here and make some changes. Okay, you can switch here. Okay, contacts, you can keep the contacts up to date. Okay, you can add a contact from the top here. If you need to add a customer, I'm going to back up a screen here. If you want to add a customer, there's a separate tab for that.
Okay.
All right, so I can add a new customer on the fly. So again, good for sales reps that are on the road. Okay. And you can add an RFQ. Now this does not require the web RFQ. This is for an internal sales rep.
Okay.
Using the mobile app. So they could add an RFQ just like they could if they were in the office.
Okay.
Okay, so they would just select the customer. Okay, again, I'm not going to be able to at this particular demonstration to be able to go through and actually physically add the RFQ, but you can kind of get the idea here. You put in the description and the details, and you basically walk through by clicking next. Pick the menu item or category here.
This is wizard-based, just like the web version is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So they pick the template category here, and so forth. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Unfortunately, I can't go all the way through and build an RFQ, but I think everybody can kind of see how that's going to work there. Okay. But that's really the idea. It gives a sales rep an idea of what jobs are in place, customers they're working with, and they can add an RFQ or a new customer.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, no, that was great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, this was another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Please look forward for more to come.